For most of the galaxy, humans were not real. They were old stories told in broken data logs and forbidden archives. Ancient files spoke of a violent species from a distant yellow star. A species that fought harder than logic allowed. A species that disappeared after a great war. No living alien had ever seen a human. So the galaxy decided humans were a myth. Commander Zalther believed that too. He stood on the bridge of the Void Spear, one of the strongest warships in the Galactic Union fleet. His people were known for their power and discipline. They ruled through fear and technology. To them, legends meant nothing. Myth species detected in archive, the historian drone sometimes said. Zalther always ignored it. Now his fleet moved through a silent star system near the edge of known space. It was unmarked. No trade routes. No colonies. No reason to be there, except for rumors. Strange signals had appeared here. Ships vanished without warning. No wreckage. No survivors. The Union wanted answers. Status report, Zalther ordered calmly. All systems normal, said the sensor officer. No life signs detected. No ships on scan. Zalther relaxed slightly. Empty systems were common. The fear around this place made no sense. Humans, he muttered. A fairy tale. Then the lights dimmed. A deep alarm echoed across the bridge. Commander, the sensor officer shouted. Multiple mass signatures detected. Zalther turned sharply. From where? The officer's voice trembled. They weren't there before. They just appeared. The main screen changed. Space itself seemed to tear open. From the darkness, massive ships emerged, black, angular, and silent. They were larger than any Union battleship. Their surfaces absorbed light instead of reflecting it. No markings. No flags. Just weapons. The bridge fell silent. How many? Zalther asked. The answer came slowly. 30, no, 40 warships. Zalther felt something unfamiliar tighten in his chest. These designs, whispered a junior officer. They match the old archive drawings. Zalther snapped his head toward him. Say that again. The human ships, Commander. That word spread across the bridge like poison. Human. Impossible. Humans were dead. Gone. Fiction. Before Zalther could respond, every communication channel activated at once. A single signal cut through the noise. Clear. Come. Cold. A voice spoke. This is Admiral Marcus Hale of the Human Defense Fleet. The translator struggled for half a second, then stabilized. You are inside protected human space. The voice continued, steady and emotionless. Turn back immediately. Zalther stared at the screen. A human voice. Real. Living. This is Commander Zalther of the Galactic Union, he replied carefully. You are violating Union territory. Identify yourselves. There was a pause. Then the human spoke again. You were warned. Zalther opened his mouth to protest. And the stars exploded. Blue-white beams ripped through space. One Union cruiser vanished in a flash of light. Shields failed before alarms could even sound. Another ship was cut in half. Then another. Return fire. Zalther roared. Union weapons screamed into space. Plasma, energy bursts, missiles, everything hit the human fleet. Nothing happened. The attacks vanished against invisible defenses. The human ships moved. Not fast. Not slow. Purposeful. Like hunters. Each shot they fired destroyed a target. No wasted energy. No panic. Just precision. Zalther watched his fleet fall apart in seconds. This was not a battle. It was an execution. Commander, the tactical officer said, voice shaking, our weapons are useless. Zalther's mind raced. These ships were not new. They were old. Advanced. Built by a species that had prepared for this moment for a very long time. The legends were wrong. Humans did not destroy themselves. They survived. And they learned. Another Union ship exploded. The shockwave rocked the Void Spear. Open all channels. Zalther shouted. Cease fire. We surrender. The human fleet stopped shooting. Silence returned to the stars. A single human ship moved closer. It was larger than the rest. Its weapons glowed softly, fully charged. The human voice returned. Surrender acknowledged. Zalther felt cold. Why, he asked. Why reveal yourselves now? The answer came without hesitation. Because you came here armed. Zalther realized the truth too late. This system was not empty. It was guarded. We were told humans were a myth, Zalther said quietly. The human voice carried something close to anger. So were we, the admiral replied. A human symbol appeared on the screen. Scarred. Powerful. For centuries, the voice continued, we hid. We watched. We remembered. Zalthar's eyes widened. You let the galaxy forget you, he said. Yes, the human answered. Because the galaxy needed to forget until it was ready to remember. The human ship locked weapons onto the void spear. Leave, the voice said. And tell your masters the truth. Zalthar swallowed. What truth? There was a pause. Then the words that would change the galaxy forever. Humans are not a myth. We are the reason myths exist. The human fleet vanished into darkness as suddenly as it had appeared. Zalthar stood frozen. His fleet was broken. His belief shattered. As the void spear limped away, one thought burned in his mind. The galaxy had made a terrible mistake. Humans were real. And next time, they might not stop. The void spear drifted through space like a wounded animal. Commander Zalthar stood alone on the bridge. Smoke filled the air. Broken panels sparked and hissed. Half his fleet was gone, destroyed in less than 5 minutes. No enemy pursuit followed. That frightened him more than the attack itself. Humans had spared him. Not because they were weak. Because they chose to. Damage report, Zalthar said quietly. Main weapons offline, the engineer replied. Shields at 12%. Communications barely working. Zalthar closed his eyes for a moment. The legends were wrong. Or maybe they were incomplete. Humans were not wild beasts. They were disciplined, controlled, and far more dangerous. As the fleet limped back toward Union space, Zalthar replayed the battle again and again in his mind. Human ships had not chased fleeing vessels. They had not attacked escape pods. They destroyed only armed targets. That was not how conquerors behaved. That was how guardians behaved. The Union hears the truth. 3 days later, the Galactic High Council gathered in emergency session. Zalthar stood before them, his armor cracked, his eyes dark. You claim humans are real, one counselor said coldly. That they destroyed half your fleet. Yes, Zalthar replied. And they could have destroyed all of it. Laughter echoed through the chamber. Impossible, another counselor said. Humans are ancient fiction. Zalthar activated the recording. The chamber fell silent as the human voice filled the air. This system is under human protection. Screens showed the black warships emerging from nothing. Then the destruction. The laughter died. Some counselors leaned back in fear. Others leaned forward in hunger. So the myths live, one whispered. And they hide advanced weapons. The High Admiral spoke at last. Where are they now? Zalthar hesitated. They control the outer dark systems. Areas we never fully mapped. The High Admiral's eyes gleamed. Then we will take it from them. Zalthar felt a chill. You don't understand, he said. They are not defending territory. They are defending something else. What? The Admiral demanded. Zalthar remembered the human's words. Because you came here armed. They are watching us, he said quietly. The Council ignored his warning. Humanity watches. Far beyond Union space, deep in the dark, a massive human station orbited a dead star. Inside, Admiral Marcus Hale stood before a wide viewing window. Union fleet survived, an officer reported. They are spreading the truth. Hale nodded. Good. Sir, another officer asked, should we prepare for retaliation? Hale's jaw tightened. They won't listen yet, he said. Fear will push them forward. Then why reveal ourselves now? The officer asked. Hale looked at a hologram of destroyed worlds, burned planets, broken cities. Because hiding did not stop them, he said. And the galaxy is repeating old mistakes. Humanity had learned patience through pain. But patience had limits. The second encounter. Weeks later, another Union fleet entered the dark systems. This one was larger, heavier, built for war. Zalthar was not part of it. He was relieved. The Union believed humans would retreat again. They were wrong. Human ships appeared instantly, more than before. But this time they did not fire. A message was sent to all ships. Turn back. This is your final warning. The Union Admiral laughed. Fire. The order was never completed. Human weapons activated across the entire fleet. Energy weapons struck with perfect timing. Shields failed together. Engines shut down in waves. Union ships did not explode. They were disabled. Within minutes, the entire fleet drifted powerless. Human boarding vessels launched. Union soldiers prepared to die. Instead, humans walked onto their ships calmly. They did not wear heavy armor. Their faces were visible. Tired. focused. Weapons were held low, not raised. The Union admiral stared at the human commander. "Why spare us?" he demanded. The human answered simply, "Because we are not here to rule you." "Then why fight?" the admiral asked. The human paused. "To stop you from becoming what destroyed us." Prisoners of truth. Captured Union officers were taken to a human station. They expected torture. Instead, they were shown history. Recordings of first contact. Human colonies burned. Peace missions destroyed. Entire species erased by the same empires that now ruled the galaxy. "We begged for peace," a human historian said. "You answered with fire." The prisoners watched in silence. "You disappeared," one officer said. "Why not fight back then?" A human woman answered softly. "We did. We lost." The room darkened. "But loss taught us," she continued. "And survival taught us patience." Zalther, watching the recordings remotely, finally understood. Humans did not want revenge. They wanted prevention. A galaxy begins to fear. News spread faster than weapons. Human fleets disabling armadas without total destruction. Freeing slave worlds. Destroying pirate strongholds. Never staying long. Never claiming land. Fear grew. Some called humans demons. Others called them angels. Most called them a mistake they wished had stayed hidden. Zalther watched the stars from his quarters. He remembered the words spoken to him. Humans are the reason myths exist. He believed them now. Because myths were not lies. They were warnings ignored by the foolish. And the galaxy had ignored humanity for far too long. The galaxy did not sleep. After the Second Union fleet was stopped without being destroyed, fear spread faster than any signal. Systems locked their borders. Fleets gathered. Old alliances broke. And everywhere one word was whispered. Humans. Commander Zalther was now a guest. Some would say a prisoner, on a human station drifting near the edge of space. The humans treated him with respect. Too much respect. That unsettled him. He stood inside a wide chamber with transparent walls. Outside, stars burned quietly. Human ships moved with silent order. "You are free to walk," the human escort told him. "But not to leave." Zalther nodded. "I understand," he said. The escort paused. "Do you?" Zalther did not answer. A history of fire. Later, Zalther was guided into a dark hall. A single human waited there, an older male with gray hair and tired eyes. "I am Elias Ward," the human said. "I was born during the long retreat." Zalther tilted his head. "The retreat." Elias waved a hand. The room came alive with images. Worlds burned. Cities shattered. Human ships exploding under alien fire. "This was first contact," Elias said quietly. "We reached out. We shared our science. Our art." The image shifted. Alien fleets arrived at human colonies. "They took what they wanted," Elias continued. "Then they tested weapons on us." Zalther felt a tightness in his chest. "These ships," he said, "they belong to empires that still rule today." "Yes," Elias replied. "Your union absorbed them later." The images showed humans fighting back, desperate, uncoordinated, brave. Then losing. "We were scattered," Elias said. "Our fleets destroyed. Our worlds burned." The hall went silent. "We learned a hard lesson," Elias continued. "Kindness means nothing without strength." Zalther lowered his eyes. "So you hid," he said. Elias nodded. "And we rebuilt. The human way." Zalther noticed something strange as days passed. Humans did not celebrate victory. There were no banners. No songs of war. Instead, there were names, etched into walls, spoken in quiet rooms. Names of lost worlds. Names of dead children. One day Zalther asked a young human officer, "Why do you fight so calmly?" The officer thought for a moment. "Because rage makes mistakes," she said. "And we can't afford mistakes anymore." Zalther remembered Union battles, chaotic, loud, cruel. Human war felt controlled. That frightened him. The Council's choice. Back in Union space, the High Council argued endlessly. "They are disabling fleets without conquest," one counselor said. "That makes them weak." "No," another replied. "That makes them confident." The High Admiral slammed a claw onto the table. "We will not be ruled by ghosts." A new plan was approved. A grand fleet. Not to fight, but to hunt. Human supply lines. Hidden stations. Refuge systems. "If we bleed them," the Admiral said, "they will come to us." The galaxy held its breath. The attack no one saw. The Union fleet struck deep into the dark. They found a human outpost, Small, lightly armed. They attacked without warning. The station burned. For the first time in centuries, humans screamed across open channels. The Union celebrated. Too soon. Humanity changes. On the human command station, alarms screamed. Admiral Hale watched the burning outpost feed in silence. "How many civilians?" he asked. "Over 12,000, an officer replied. Hale closed his eyes. When he opened them, something had changed. "Recall all fleets," he ordered. "Sir?" someone asked. "We are done warning," Hale said. A message was sent, broadcast across the entire galaxy. "This is humanity. We hid because we hoped you would grow. You did not." The message paused. "You attacked our children." The human fleets moved. Everywhere. Fear becomes reality. Union systems fell into panic. Human warships appeared inside defended space. This time they did not disable. They destroyed military targets completely. Shipyards vanished. Weapon factories burned. Command centers were erased. But civilian worlds were untouched. Zalther watched the reports in horror. "They are cutting the knife," he whispered. Not swinging it wildly. Elias stood beside him. "We do not want your people dead," Elias said. "We want your leaders powerless." Zalther finally understood. This was not war for land. This was war for change. The choice given. A final message reached the Galactic Union. Surrender your war fleets. Dismantle slave systems. Open archives. Or humanity would continue. The council was divided. But fear won. They agreed to talks. Zalther was chosen as liaison. As he boarded a human ship toward the negotiation point, he felt something heavy inside him. Hope. For the first time, the galaxy was being forced to face its past. As the ship jumped to light speed, Zalther looked back at the human fleet. Legends were never meant to comfort. They were meant to warn. And the warning had finally been heard. The negotiation station floated at the center of empty space. No flags. No weapons visible. Only silence. It was built by humans in less than one cycle. Simple. Strong. Honest. Everything about it sent a message: we are not hiding anymore. Commander Zalther arrived aboard a human ship. As he stepped onto the station, he felt the weight of history pressing down on him. This meeting would decide the future of the galaxy. Across the chamber, representatives of the Galactic Union waited. Some stood tall with pride. Others looked tired. Afraid. At the center stood Admiral Marcus Hale. No armor. No symbols of rank. Only a dark uniform and calm eyes. "You asked for this meeting," Hale said evenly. "Speak." The High Admiral of the Union stepped forward. "We are here to negotiate peace," he said. Hale tilted his head slightly. "Peace is not requested after burning civilian stations." The chamber went quiet. Zalther felt the truth cut deeper than any weapon. Words are harder than weapons. "We did not know the station held civilians," one counselor argued. Hale's voice hardened. "You fired without asking," he replied. "That is knowing enough." The Union representatives shifted uncomfortably. Another spoke. "You have shown your power. The galaxy understands now. There is no need for further bloodshed." Hale looked around the room. "You misunderstand," he said. "Power was never the message." "Then what was?" the High Admiral demanded. Hale raised a hand. A projection appeared. Images of ruined human worlds filled the chamber. Cities turned to ash. Oceans boiled. Children running from fire. "This," Hale said quietly, "was ignored." The image changed. Alien empires growing rich. Slave chains. Forced labor. "You built your peace on suffering," Hale continued. "We stayed silent because we hoped time would fix that." Zalther saw many faces turn away. "It didn't," Hale finished. "The human terms." Hale stepped forward. "These are our terms," he said. "First, all slave systems will be freed. Second, all military fleets will be reduced and monitored. Third, all historical records will be opened." A counselor laughed nervously. "You are asking us to dismantle our power?" Hale nodded. "Yes." "And if we refuse?" the High Admiral asked. Hale looked directly at him. "Then we continue," he said. No threat followed. None was needed. A galaxy divides. The negotiations paused. Union leaders argued in private chambers. Some wanted to fight. Pride still burned in them. Others remembered the human fleets moving like ghosts through defenses. Zalther stood apart watching. He remembered the first battle. How humans could have killed them all. They chose not to. That choice mattered. "You believe them," a counselor said to him. Zalther nodded. "They are not lying." How can you be sure? Because they don't need to, Zalther replied. The decision. After many hours the Union returned. The High Admiral's voice was heavy. We accept your terms, he said. A ripple passed through the chamber. Hale did not smile. Then we begin rebuilding, he said. The price of change. Human fleets did not leave. Instead they changed their mission. They escorted refugees, protected freed worlds, destroyed only illegal weapons. Some alien systems resisted. Those systems lost their fleets. Slowly, painfully, the galaxy changed. Zalther traveled with human observers. He saw worlds where slaves cried at open skies they had never seen before. Why help us? One freed worker asked a human soldier. The soldier answered simply, because someone once didn't help us. Fear turns to respect. Years passed. Human warships became a familiar sight. Still feared but no longer hated by all. Trade routes reopened. Old enemies spoke again. But humanity never ruled directly. They watched. They remembered. Zalther met Admiral Hale one last time before returning home. You could rule everything, Zalther said. Why don't you? Hale looked at the stars. Because empires fall, he replied. Guardians endure. Zalther bowed his head. A new kind of legend. Stories spread across the galaxy. Not of monsters. Not of gods. But of humans. The species that vanished. The species that returned. The species that refused to become what they hated. Children now heard a new warning. Do not wake the humans. Not because they were cruel, but because they were watching. As Zalther's ship jumped away, he understood something deep and painful. The galaxy had begged for mercy, and humanity had answered. Not with fire, but with responsibility. Peace did not come quietly. Across the galaxy, old powers struggled to accept change. Some worlds welcomed freedom. Others feared it. Many leaders smiled in public while planning in secret. Humans knew this. They had seen it before. Commander Zalther traveled with a human task group assigned to observe the former Union border systems. Their mission was not conquest. It was balance. Human ships stayed at a distance. They did not interfere unless needed. But when needed, they acted fast. A silent test. On the world of Kreth, a former slave hub, unrest began to grow. Old overseers returned in secret. Weapons were hidden. Fear spread among the freed people. Zalther watched the feeds closely. Why do you wait? He asked a human captain named Rena Cole. You see the danger. Rena nodded. Yes, but this is their world now. The uprising began at dawn. Explosions rocked the capital city. Armed groups seized control centers. Panic filled the streets. Human ships did not move. Zalther clenched his claws. You are letting them die. Rena's voice stayed calm. No, we are letting them choose. Minutes later, something unexpected happened. Civilians stood up. Former slaves blocked streets. Workers disabled vehicles. Families hit each other. The rebellion slowed. Only then did the human ships act. Targeted strikes disabled weapon caches. Communication towers used by the rebels went dark. No buildings fell. No civilians died. Within hours, the uprising ended. Zalther stared in disbelief. You could have stopped it instantly, he said. Yes, Rena replied. But then they would depend on us forever. The code revealed. Later that day, Zalther asked to see the human rules of war. Rena brought him to a quiet room. A simple screen lit up. At the top were 4 words. Protect the innocent. Below it, never strike first without proof. Never destroy what can be disabled. Never forget why we fight. That is all. Zalther asked. Rena nodded. That is everything. Zalther thought of Union doctrine, domination, fear, speed. Human doctrine was restraint. That took more strength than violence. Shadows of the past. Not all humans agreed with this path. On a distant station, a small human group met in secret. Veterans of the old wars. Survivors who had lost everything. They are too soft, one said. We should crush the galaxy before it turns on us again. They already attacked our civilians, another growled. Mercy invites betrayal. Their leader, a scarred man named Grant Keller, stared at a star map. Peace is a lie, he said. Only fear lasts. They planned without approval. A rogue strike. The breaking point. The rogue group attacked an alien military depot without warning. The explosion was massive. Shockwaves hit nearby cities. Thousands died. The galaxy froze. Blame spread instantly. Humans lied. They promised restraint. They are the same as before. Zalther felt sick as reports flooded in. Admiral Hale stood before the Human Council, face hard. This attack was not authorized, Hale said publicly. And it will be answered. Some aliens laughed bitterly. Answered how? Justice from within. Human fleets moved, not outward but inward. They hunted their own. Grant Keller's group ran, stealing ships, hiding in old systems. They did not get far. Human warships surrounded them silently. No warnings. No speeches. Hale himself appeared on screen. You broke the code, he said. You knew the cost. Keller snarled. We did what you were afraid to do. Hale's eyes showed pain. No, he said. We did what we swore never to become. The rogue ships were disabled. Boards were set. Keller and his followers were arrested, not killed. The galaxy watched in shock. Humans punished their own. Trust earned in blood. The trial was public. Painful. Honest. Human crimes were named. Victims were honored. No excuses were made. Zalther stood among alien observers. They shamed themselves, one whispered. No, Zalther replied softly. They cleansed themselves. When the trial ended, the message was clear. Humanity would not protect monsters, even human ones. A stronger peace. Slowly fear faded. Not because humans were weak, but because they were consistent. Worlds rebuilt under shared protection. Former enemies traded again. Children grew up hearing stories, not of warships but of choices. Zalther prepared to return home. Before leaving, he met Admiral Hale one final time. You could have hidden the attack, Zalther said. Blame someone else. Hale nodded. That is how lies grow. And if the galaxy betrays you again? Zalther asked. Hale looked at the stars. Then we will face it, he said. Without losing ourselves. The weight of legend. As Zalther's ship traveled through space, he understood something new. Humanity was not strong because of its weapons. It was strong because it set limits on itself. Legends often spoke of heroes who saved the galaxy. This legend was different. It was about a species that refused to let hate decide its future. And that choice might be the hardest battle of all. The galaxy did not become peaceful overnight. Old wounds do not heal that fast. But something had changed. For the first time in recorded history, power no longer meant fear alone. It meant responsibility. Commander Zalther returned to his homeworld after many cycles away. The cities looked the same, but the people felt different. There was less silence, less tension, more questions. And one question echoed everywhere. What are humans really like? Zalther was asked to speak before the Union Assembly. Not as a commander, not as a warrior, but as a witness to change. Zalther stood before thousands of leaders, scholars, and citizens. The chamber was quiet. I once believed humans were a myth, he began. A story meant to scare children. He paused. I was wrong. Images appeared behind him, human fleets disabling ships, freeing worlds, standing down when they could destroy. They are not perfect, Zalther continued. They make mistakes. They feel anger. They feel loss. But they chose something rare. The chamber leaned closer. They chose limits. Some listeners shifted uncomfortably. Zalther raised his voice. They had the power to rule us. They refused. They had the power to destroy us. They restrained themselves. That choice changed everything. Silence followed. Then applause, slow at first, then growing. The final test. Far away in the deep dark beyond known space, something ancient stirred. A species older than the Union. Older than human records. They had watched quietly as the galaxy weakened itself through war. Now they saw opportunity. A massive armada began moving inward, silent, unstoppable. Their goal was simple. Erase all young species. Rule the ashes. Human deep space sensors detected them first. Admiral Hale stared at the incoming data. They are not like the others, an officer said. They won't talk. Hale nodded. Then this will be our final test. The call to stand. A message was sent across the galaxy. Not a command. A request. This is humanity, the signal said. A threat approaches that will not spare any of us. We will stand. You may stand with us, or hide. No threats followed. No pressure. Just truth. Worlds answered in their own ways. Some sent fleets. Some sent supplies. Some sent prayers. Zalther stood on the bridge of a rebuilt Union ship. For once, he said quietly, we will not arrive late. Fire at the edge of everything. The battle took place in open void, far from any world. The ancient armada was vast. Ships like moving continents, weapons that bent space. Human fleets took the center. Alien fleets formed beside them. Different designs, different cultures, one purpose. The first exchange shattered stars. Human ships took heavy damage. Alien fleets lost entire wings. Still no one fled. Hale watched calmly. "Hold formation," he ordered. When a Union cruiser drifted powerless, a human ship moved to shield it. When a human frigate burned, alien fighters covered its retreat. The ancient enemy did not understand this. They had never faced unity. The human choice. As losses mounted, Hale was given a final option. A weapon humanity had sworn never to use again. It would end the battle instantly. It would also tear space apart, killing millions in nearby systems. The room waited. Zalther watched the human admiral on the main screen. Hale closed his eyes. "No," he said. "But we may lose," an officer warned. Hale opened his eyes. "Then we lose as ourselves." Human fleets adjusted tactics. They pushed closer, took greater risks. Alien fleets followed. The battle turned brutal. But slowly, the ancient armada began to fall. Victory without chains. The final enemy ship broke apart in silence. Space went still. No cheers followed. Only exhaustion. Hale addressed the galaxy. "We survived," he said. "Together. There will be no empire built from this victory. No tribute. No chains. Only memory." Human fleets began to withdraw. So did the others. No one claimed glory. That alone made it legendary. What the galaxy remembers. Years passed. Children across hundreds of worlds learned new stories. Not about gods. Not about monsters. But about a species that vanished, returned, and chose restraint over revenge. Human warships still watched the borders. Silent. Patient. Zalther walked through a public archive where a new plaque had been placed. Read. "Here stands the truth. Humans were never a myth. They were a warning. And a choice." Zalther touched the stone. He remembered the first moment, when human ships appeared from darkness. The fear. The power. The restraint. The final thought. Legends are not born from destruction alone. They are born from decisions made when destruction is easy. Humanity could have ruled the galaxy. Instead they guarded it. And that choice echoed longer than any weapon ever could.